congratulating this group about what they're trying to do, especially not just the tree plantation thing, but also that they want to involve school children in this. And I think that is the final key that will solve this kind of issue. So Christopher, I think there is a lot more than just hope. It's a question of actually doing things with people which will make things happen. I think that's what's important. How do you take these kind of theoretical issues of planning into practice through local efforts? And I think that is what you all should really aim about. And I think part of it is something that they are doing already. So it's really, I think it's wonderful to say that I've got 26,000 trees, right? But what Vijay was saying, which was very, very apparent, is what trees? And how rapidly will they grow? What is going to happen with them? Where are you planting those trees? Are those areas going to eventually get cleared off and some builder is going to build something on it? Or a slum is going to form there? So it is all these issues that you should look at in a much wider context, I think. And that comes from planning right down to practical implementation of what we want to do for greening. One of the things that I'd like to bring to this group is that if you want to do this in a sustainable way, you also need to think of various small urban biodiversity initiatives, which looks at greening, not just as greening or green buildings or gardens, but what do you do beyond that in terms of urban biodiversity support? And so one would love to see the list of trees that you are planting and the proportion of trees that you are planting, and go with that and model your whole future tree plantation to 50,000 trees based on that kind of information base. And I think that will bring about something which is very, very special. We've been doing a lot of work on that at the Institute. We are trying to understand what actually happens when a builder builds a place and makes a lawn and plants Ashoka trees. It's what Vijay brought up. I mean, is that really what we are looking for? It may look very nice, it looks very green, it's water hungry, it doesn't provide any shade, it in fact adds to the hot speck that you get there, and it's not really what is relevant. So what we actually want to do is to create something which is as close to naturalness as possible. And I think that is what you should really model your future programs on. So find ways to support biodiversity, find ways to reduce temperature, you attempt to reduce noise. You know, one of the things that I think we forget about, we are always talking about restoring things. What about the fact that we do already have something which we need to support and see that it doesn't disappear? There's one little initiative which I can point out, which is really supported by the army through a small suggestion of mine. You all know this little residual road which exists from Pune Club swimming pool up to the Circuit House place, right? Which is an avenue of banyan trees with beautiful aerial roots. I remember how this happened. I happened to meet an army general and say, well, instead of cutting the branches of those trees so that the banyan tree doesn't fall down, why don't you just allow those roots to root into the ground? And what I suggested, which is what they did, was they brought old disposed barrels, put them under the banyan tree roots. The barrels have corroded away now, but the banyan trees are all standing, and you've got this last residual avenue. In fact, it's a very important avenue, and as I'll show you on a map a little later. Unfortunately, the visual is too small. But Shivam can tell you a lot about this because that's been his MSc dissertation topic. We've tried to say, where are the green spaces of Pune, which are residual green spots with high biodiversity? Where are the corridors for these so that especially bird and insect migration can occur, which is a very important part of it? What has happened to the river belt, which acts as a potential corridor for a whole lot of species? So I think these are the types of things that you need to look at, and I'll just show you these quick visuals. But before I finish, think of Pune as a living organism, as a living human being. You know, then you find that the lungs of the city are these green spaces where you get good air quality, open spaces. That's part of the city, and that's the human lung. You look at the kidneys, and that's our wastewater system. You look at metabolism of the human tract, and that's our energy systems within Pune. You look at the eyes and ears of Pune, it's the security system. You look at the heart of the human being, that's your city administration and governance. And you look at locomotor, our muscles and bones, and that's our transport system. And of course, there's a reproductive system which leads to population growth. But anyway, so the city is a living organism, as it were, and think of it as part of yourself. And you will find that we can change things. It's not hopeless. It's something that we can do. It's something that we can achieve. It's something that where we have a long lobby force, we can force governments to do things as well. So one part of it is doing it ourselves, and the other part of it is really lobbying for a better, greener Pune. Thank you very much for having me here. It's wonderful what you're doing. Let's see where we can move it forward. As I said, it's not just planting trees, it's what we plant, how we do it, and how we preserve this for the future generations. Thank you very, very much.